So word on the street is that Parfums de Marly Percival smells a whole lot like Montblanc Legend. Well, I guess the best thing to do is it's time for a battle royale. PDM Percival versus Montblanc Legend Eau de Parfum. But do they really smell that much alike? Do they? Do they? Well, stay tuned to find out. Cue that intro. What's going on, my beautiful fragrance family, and welcome back to My2Scents. I hope each and every one of you are doing frickin' phenomenal today. My name is Brian, and this is the channel all about helping boost your confidence through the art of fragrance and helping you become a lasting scent memory. Man, I always enjoy doing these battle royales, picking fragrances that people say smell a lot similar to said other fragrances. But, you know, sometimes they're absolutely right, and sometimes not so much. Before we get into this battle royale, though, I'd like to know what your 2 cents are on Parfums de Marly Percival. I'd also like to know what your 2 cents are on Montblanc Legend Eau de Parfum. Now, I don't have the EDT anymore because as soon as I picked this up, I got rid of the EDT. I think this is the smoother, more balanced, more well-rounded Montblanc Legend. And I figured that, you know, maybe, just maybe, it does smell a lot like Percival. But even on Fragrantica, this gets voted pretty high to smelling like this. Well, do they? Well, let's find out in today's Whiffs and Sniffs. Okay, just like I always do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with Legend first. I'm going to throw the notes right up here for you. I'm going to spray Legend on my left hand, and then I'll spray Percival on the opposite hand, which would be my right hand. Fun fact, if you didn't know your lefts from rights. Just letting you know. So here we go. Now, I do love the atomizer on this Montblanc Legend. I mean, just look at this. That's a hell of an atomizer. All right, so let's break this bad boy down. Now, this Montblanc Legend Eau de Parfum does smell quite similar to the original Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. And so does the EDT, which is a scent profile that I love because it's masculine, it's green, it's musky. God, it is just a very familiar scent to me. Probably one of the most iconic scent profiles of the early 2000s. This starts out a little harsh, all right? There's a little bit of a medicinal harshness to it, but that settles down and you get straight into this really nice kind of watery bergamot. Further into it, you start getting some jasmine, and this is it's a nice sweet jasmine. It's a little green, all right? You get some green camphorous characteristics to it. Beautiful musks and a really nice woodiness. And the woodiness comes through shortly after the top notes settle in. The greenness I'm getting comes from maybe some sage sitting in there and some oak moss. And it's a nice green, soft oak moss. Nothing harsh, nothing, you know, overpowering or trying to do more than something else in the fragrance. Everything is very rounded, it's polished, it's very smooth. But there's also something very nice and resinous about this, and I believe it's like a leathery labdanum, but it's not super leathery. It's just in there again to play a supporting role, kind of round out that oak moss and not allow it to become too oak mossy, which I kind of wish it was a little bit more oak moss forward, but that's okay. There's also a really nice creaminess to this, and I'm guessing that's going to be coming from some ICO Super, though I know it's not in the note breakdown. There is definitely, and I detect, some ICO Super in here, and a little bit of ambroxan in there as well, kind of just giving it more of a creamy woodiness. Very musk heavy when it fully dries down. The woods are really predominant, and that resinous labdanum, it's really good. I've always been a fan of this one ever since I put my nose on it. I like this better than the Eau de Toilette. I like this better than Legend Spirit, and I like it better than Legend Night. This also pops up at discounters now and is super stinking cheap. You can get, you know, 50 ml to 100 ml around that $40 to $60 range. But how does this stack up to this? I'm going to leave the notes up here for you for Percival, and let's go ahead and get to whiffing and sniffing. All right, right off the bat, the biggest difference. This thing really, really projects, like, as soon as you spray it on. Like, I'm getting loads of it right now in my nose. And what I get It's a lot greener, more balsamic right off the bat. You have a nice orange, but the orange is not super citrusy. It is more there for added depth, kind of get the composition going. I get a lot of balsam fir, this very balsamic green quality, kind of going back to, you know, early 90s and late 80s, like that 80s style of green fragrances. Percival kind of has that sitting inside of here, but it is a lot more modern. I also start getting this really nice bouquet of flowers like lavender. I believe there's also hedione in here, which is adding a nice sweetness and also just adding a nice floral aspect with that lavender. I believe there's also jasmine in here as well, but I get a lot more lavender than I do jasmine. As for Montblanc Legend, I get a lot more jasmine. Loads of musk, lots of musks right up top and then throughout the entirety of the fragrance. You're also getting a big blast of ambroxan, and that's giving it longevity, giving a nice creamy woody quality. It's funny because the very opening of this fragrance, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody say this, I get like a really top shelf gin. More like, you know, like your Hendrix or your, you know, top shelf Beefeaters. It's really nice, and it's just an herbal quality, a green quality. I think there's more herbal qualities in this than there are in Legend. The ambroxan, the lavender, the jasmine, the hedione is adding a nice cleanliness to this, fresh and clean and masculine. Loads of wood start rolling in, adding to the cleanliness, adding a nice depth to this. And it's going to be like amber wood because you do get this nice sweet woody quality. I believe there's a little bit of cedar in here, and I believe also some ICO super, and maybe, just maybe, some rosewood as well. It's a little spicy, but it's green spicy. It's very fresh. It's very well put together. It's a very well done fragrance. But the question is, does it smell like Montblanc Legend? Well, it has similarities. I will say that. I think they're completely two different fragrances, as you can tell by the note breakdowns, but also if you smell them, I would say that Percival is the better, more well blended, more natural smelling fragrance. Though I'm sure there are plenty of synthetics, as we know, there's ambroxan in here. So there are some synthetic qualities, but it's blended very well. Now, the Eau de Parfum Legend. It does not smell that much, and that's similar to Percival. They have a lot of similarities, but I think they're two different fragrances. Percival, in my opinion, is the better fragrance. Sort of. I don't enjoy the opening of Percival as much as I enjoy the opening of Legend. Legend is just a little bit more balanced. It's not as green and balsamic, and that balsamic characteristic that Percival puts off, it almost has like a greasy side to it. It's almost rubbery in a way, and it's just the combination of the orange and the balsam, the fir balsam, those green camphorous notes combining together, and it kind of, that and the lavender, all that kind of just gives it this very oily characteristic. Not in a bad way, like a greasy characteristic. And again, not in a bad way. It does smell very good. And I have, since buying this and wearing this, I have gotten plenty of compliments from it because it's built that way. It's built to get compliments. It's very mass appealing. But so is this. This is very mass appealing, and this is a lot cheaper. Now, longevity. Percival definitely wins in this contest. I mean, Percival will last 8 to 10 hours on my skin. If I get on my clothes, I definitely get a lot better longevity. And I don't know if I actually need it because it already lasts for stinking ever. Montblanc Legend, on the other hand, I get about 6 to 7 hours of longevity. But the big difference between the two is how the top notes roll into the heart notes and then into the base notes. This one is a little bit more on fast forward. Everything kind of just fades away from the top, rolls into the heart. That heart kind of just fades into the dry down, and that's what you're left with for the entirety of the fragrance. And actually the dry down, the full dry down of both these fragrances is where it smells the most similar. Percival, the green characteristics stick around longer, the top notes stick around longer, the heart notes, you have a little bit more longevity with the heart notes before you roll into the base notes. But all in all, once they get into the full dry down is where they become the most similar. Now, which one would I recommend? Well, it all depends on your budget. Montblanc Legend Eau de Parfum, like I said, you can get at discounters between $40 and $60 for 50 to 100 mLs. It might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less. So it's just something you want to keep your eye out for. You can also go to department stores and sample this and test drive it. You can also go to decant sites and get yourself a sample and see for yourself. Now, Percival, way more expensive, okay, in the long scheme of things if you're buying it full retail. But you can find it at discounters. Like I said, I got mine at Jumbo Shop for $150 for a 60 ml. That's going to last me forever, which I thought is a pretty good price. Now, you can find it at other discounters for cheaper, but kind of the same thing that I've said with a lot of other fragrances. If you see it, you want to go ahead and get it in your cart, and you want to go ahead and get it, because this doesn't stick around for very long, especially when it's highly discounted, when you can find it for a really good price. Now, if I had to buy either of them at full retail, I would go Montblanc Legend Eau de Parfum. This is expensive. You're looking, $300 for 120 ml, $200+ for a 60 ml. But if you were getting either of them at discounters, I think this is the better fragrance. Though I like the opening of this one more. This one is still very interesting. It's unique. It is mass appealing, but so is this. But I would say this is a lot less unique because it does smell very similar to the original Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. Percival, this I do not see smelling that much like Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, and it's all because that very balsamic opening that sticks around for quite some time. Both are really good fragrances. Better performing, longer lasting. Performance is a little lackluster, but scent profile, it's really good. I guess you want to know who wins this battle royale? And the winner is going to be Percival. And I thought it was going to be Montblanc Legend Eau de Parfum, but the more time that I've spent with Percival, I have decided that it is the better fragrance. It is the better smelling fragrance. And if you're looking at getting attention, this will definitely do it. But so will this. Either way, I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you're newer into fragrances, if you're just getting into, this type of scent profile, this is where I would start. And then I'd work my way into this. I think these are both two fantastic fragrances. I do not think that they smell that similar. I think they share a lot of the same characteristics. This one just does it a little bit better, and this one just brings back an icon, honestly. Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce was a fantastic fragrance. It really isn't that fantastic anymore. It's not what it used to be. But the winner of today's battle is Parfums de Marly Percival. All right, there it is, guys. Another little battle royale for you. I know that a lot of you out there may agree and might disagree with this, and if you do, either way, leave me a comment down below. I'm always curious to know what your 2 cents are. But that's it for me today, guys. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and if you enjoyed today's content, then do me a favor and like, comment, share, and subscribe, and always remember you are stinking beautiful. And until next time, happy scent trails.